Hello. Hi, Ken. Welcome.
Thank you, Amira. How are you?
I am excellent. How are you going?
Excellent too. Thank you.
So we have Ken with us, who is from Future Wellness Group. Is that correct? That's right.
Correct.
I got it right.
CEO and family. You got it right.
Excellent. So we've been chatting previously about a solution that you've come up with, or what you call a life check. But I wanted to go through and firstly get you to tell us a little bit more about yourself and about your business.
Sure. I started off in banking eons ago and ended up running some businesses for the bank. But I always wanted to see if I could build a business myself rather than having the bank's checkbook in my back pocket the whole time. So I decided to get into running private hospital, um, high technology, writing international standards for a number of years, and then settled on software development in analytics.
Oh,
So
right.
that's the journey to get here.
Mm-hmm. And so then why the Future Wellness Group? Like what prompted you to go down that path?
We've been using um, analytics for a number of business opportunities. However, I decided that we really needed to give back if we possibly could. And I also had sisters with type 2 diabetes that didn't want to listen to their baby brother telling them what they should and shouldn't be doing. So I found a database of some 70,000 medical records and built software around that to predict the likelihood of developing a chronic illness. So we could actually get and help people start their journey to wellness.
Right.
That was the
So
whole concept.
that was where Life Check, that's what it's called. The
Yes, we built that prior to COVID, where we were just looking at physical markers like ethnicity, age, gender, all that. We can get into that a bit later if you like.
Mm-hmm.
But then COVID hit, and all of a sudden, mental health became the priority. So we expanded Life Check to include some mental health questions so we could make the conversation easier for people, take the mystery out of mental health and just blend it with physical markers so it just makes the conversation easier.
Right. And so your sisters, you said, were unwell, and that's what prompted you to create it?
Yes, because there wasn't anything around to predict what your lifestyle choices was doing to you. And COVID demonstrated that our health system just simply cannot cope with the number of patients that it will end up there. And we have a history and a culture of just treatment. You know, you get sick, you go to the doctor, you get a pill,
Yeah.
then you get another pill. And then what we end up, we all know that we're going to live longer, but I actually want us to live longer, a longer, happier, healthier life rather than just taking longer to die.
And I actually
So,
like that philosophy of yours because one of my missions in life is to actually live over 100. But of course, when I bring this up to people, they say, "Oh, who'd want to live to 100? You're all decrepit and all these aches and pains and problems." And I said, "Well, why does it have to be like that? There are currently blue zones around the world, which I'm fascinated about. And for anybody who does not know what a blue zone is, you can see one of my other newsletter or YouTube channel, and you'll be able to find out a bit more. You can also Google what blue zones are. But essentially, yeah, people in those places are not 100 years old living in nursing homes or whatnot. They're actually in the community still being productive members of society.
well, I have a goal. They were talking on the news the other day about our road system, something about 2060, and I'll be 104. So I want to be driving on that free road system or generating some sort of picture of driving at 104. I think that's pretty cool without
I
actually
love
hitting
it.
anybody.
And passing all of those extra tests you have to do, right?
Exactly. In the convertible with the roof down, enjoying life.
I love it. And that's the way it should be, because we do have access to, medicines, medical advancements, technology, which is also going to improve in time. However, to get there and to benefit from it, we need to make it there.
That's right. But we have to change our culture. We have to change our culture of and help people to understand what their life choices are doing to them now.
Yeah.
Start the transitional journey from early 20s, not 70 when it's too late.
And can you talk a
And
little
this is
bit
one
more about that? Because I think sometimes we're so much, especially like in the grind of things and just trying to get from one thing to another, that we don't actually notice the effect that these habits have on our wellness until, of course, you have some sort of crisis or something, or you do get diagnosed with something. So if you could speak more about that.
Okay, well, we looked at the data that we had and that was available to us, and we built these 27 questions around that data. And the 27 questions, which takes about 90 seconds to complete the questionnaire, work around your personal details, your family details, your lifestyle choices with regard to drinking, smoking, exercise, diet, and your state of mental health, a snapshot of. And all those questions or the answers are weighted depending on what the either weighted for the better or weighted for the worst. So what then LifeCheck does, and as I stress, it's only a prediction, it's not a diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
It predicts a percentage likelihood of you developing a chronic illness, such as type 2 diabetes, a stroke, heart attack. They're all pretty much linked to each other.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to act as you get that piece of paper in your hand from the report, and you would be able to make comments on that report. I should stress that the data is all anonymized, so nobody knows who's talking to who, which helps people be a bit honest when it comes to the drinking and the eating and the exercise stuff. And then you have a benchmark that you can work on. And so what we try and push is you take that benchmark. If there are areas where you think you could improve, the system can look at reducing your weight, minimizing your drinking, increasing your exercise, and then come up with a lower prediction. That gives you the roadmap to get to that lower prediction. And as long as you understand that age makes risk higher, no matter what you do, there's a whole stack of other factors that you can minimize or at least understand what they're doing. So what we have to remember, of course, is lifestyle choices are there because we've chosen those lifestyle choices. We enjoy those lifestyle choices. Yeah. So if somebody comes along and says, well, guess what? Stop eating that pizza, stop drinking, do more exercise. We go, hey, we don't do that. That's all too hard. The brain works really well at stopping us from doing anything that we don't want to do. So we have to just look at the future and go, well, if we want to be around for our grandchildren, we want to be healthier, we have to make those changes now. And our job collectively is to include a fun factor somehow. Mm-hmm. It's got to be fun to do it.
And so I guess with LifeCheck, and I've personally done one myself, is that it does give you a visual of how things are going, and then you can come back in a month or 2 months and actually do it again and can be able to compare them along the way.
That's right. And that's particularly important for key measurements such as weight, blood pressure, and pulse, which the more accurate they are, the more accurate the prediction. But also for your mental health. Now, we ask about anxiety and depression and feeling hopeless. We all have those blue times. We don't weight those particularly heavily. They're there for such as for yourself as a practitioner to make comment, because somebody might just be anxious because of its exam time, or they're having some financial issues that because finance really is part of the whole wellness scene, that if you get your finances under control, then you stop being anxious, you stop eating chocolate, you stop putting on weight, you start doing more exercise, you lower your score.
Yeah, no, and that is, and we spoke about this earlier before we did start recording, is that often we get a bit trapped in this catch-22 situation where, you know, we want to be improving our finances, or, you know, some aspect of that. Maybe for some people it's reducing their debt, or earning more, improving their ability to earn more per hour, or whatever it happens to be. However, when you're not in that space of having the energy or the motivation or even the ability to think better, that makes it very difficult to actually move yourself into that. So what I find is that when you are in a better space, mentally, physically, you know, you've reduced some weight, perhaps your body's trusting you, that your ability to then problem solve actually improves. So have you found that as well with the people?
Very much so. All the physical trainers in the world will tell you that you can't keep doing the same exercise, because if you do the same exercise, you get muscle memory and it doesn't become effective anymore. And that's the same for your health, for all aspects of wellness, including financial. You have to make a change. They don't have to be major changes, but you have to make a change. Like, get up and watch a sunset. Sorry, yeah, sunrise.
Mm.
Go read a book. Close the computer. Think differently.
Yeah.
It doesn't, those activities actually don't require you to be any more physical. They just change your perspective on life.
Yeah.
If you're not a morning person, watch a sunset. You know, do something that you like doing that you haven't done before. And that could be the catalyst to just make a change. And one change is all it really takes. And then you can get on with addressing your problems one small step at a time.
And it's funny that it is a bit like that. I believe that in today's society, we really want things to be done now. You know, I feel terrible now. I want to fix it now. That's not how life works. So, like, as
No, not
it's
many
that
of us.
one step at a time.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. For many of us, it doesn't work that way.
Mm.
There are many that they think it does, but as we talked earlier, it's a bit like losing weight. You can take all these treatments and lose 20 kilos in a matter of months, but you always put it back on.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah, but
start the
you haven't
journey.
changed those habits yet either, have you? If you're going to take something like that.
That's right. So you get off, you don't take the medicine, you change what you're doing.
Mm.
You increase something, you decrease some things, and at the end of it, it might be a long journey, as I keep stressing, but you look at the benefits that are going to come out at the end.
Yeah. And
And
that's
this is
not to
where,
say that if people do have a medical problem, you should definitely be taking the medicine.
oh,
But,
oh
you
yes,
know,
yes. I mean, on life check, if we get somebody with a very high score, then we would suggest that they go straight to the doctor, get a blood test, confirm one. You know, we don't want them as a for some event to happen. We're just identifying that they should be doing something about it.
yeah, for sure. And then, and speaking of that, uh, do you have any success stories from people, or any sort of feedback from people who have done the life check before?
Yeah, I think the best success stories is where people are looking to change. They know that there are some issues, and LifeCheck identifies what those issues are, whether it be weight, whether it be eating habits, whether it be state of mind, because there's nothing you can do about genetics.
No.
Um, and so what we've done is the system will then change some of the parameters, such as weight, such as increasing exercise, such as reducing alcohol content, and then people can see the lower result, and it gives them that roadmap to actually go for it. They deal with a wellness coach such as yourself, who can say, well, this is where you should be doing your diet. This is what you should be doing here. We can suggest that. And we do. So if they do regular testing, they can see that predictive score coming down, and they know they've succeeded at something.
Yeah.
And success at anything might be something that's just the catalyst they need to continue. And if they can continue testing, then if they have a few mistakes, then the system will pick up, well, yes, you've put on a few extra kilos, you've dropped a bit of exercise, just go back to what you were doing. And they're the success stories we like to have shared with us. What I should stress, though, is because all the data is anonymized, we actually can't see it.
No.
So it's up to the individual to check for themselves. And the other positive was we provided a law firm with the software, and their idea of wellness was a drink on a Friday night and a Christmas party. That was it. And
Wow.
we identified, so whilst the data is all anonymous, provided we've got about 50 or 60 reports, the system will aggregate all that data and provide a commentary to the company as to how the staff are physically and mentally. And whilst the staff were physically pretty well, mentally they were struggling. And whilst the company had organised a counsellor to come in every now and again, but nobody would visit the counsellor. That was the problem.
Mm.
So it became apparent they needed more staff.
Right.
Reduce workload. Stop giving the busy people more things to do. And it improved productivity, it improved revenues, and generally the culture of the company was very much improved. So that's what we like to see.
I think that's one of the really good successes of it, is that even though it was all anonymous, they could definitely make some business decisions around where they were going on that information.
Well, the other thing that's important is, LifeCheck's very cost effective. If you're sending your senior staff to medical exams, you could be paying $1,500 to $2,000, $5,000 for that, a couple of days of testing. We're talking dollars. We're talking a very cost-effective way, so you can provide it to all the staff, not just to the senior executives.
Yeah, exactly. But I think what's really great about it is that it is giving you that visual of how you are tracking, and that you then have the ability to come back and compare it. And as you say, I mean, we're talking cheaper, and I'm not discrediting the doctor, but you are talking a very low cost to get this snapshot and have some sort of roadmap of how you're going, like some feedback about where you're going and how you're doing. And I think
Plus,
that
you don't have to leave your lounge room.
exactly.
Sorry, you don't have to leave your lounge room. You've got more than enough time to do it. You're not under pressure as you are at the doctor's to have your 15 minutes to get out. And so we just make it easy, quick, and cost effective.
And you're not sitting there, it's not an exam or anything.
No.
I found it quite easy to use as well. And I found it quite interesting what it did come back. But having said that, I don't have a lot of family issues, physical family issues. And I'd started on my wellness journey, and I believe at the time I did it, I was actually sort of at the height of that. So it would probably be worth, having another check and make sure I'm still on track to see how I'm doing. So, so where do you envision the future of LifeCheck and your future wellness group going?
We want to improve the predictability of the software by building another platform that will take in far more information on people. So it'll take in physical markers, but invasive information. The current LifeCheck is all non-invasive.
Mm-hmm.
But if we take in blood tests, genetic tests, then the big advantages we see, and we'd have to be very careful of this, we want to be able to predict timing. So not only are you likely to get a chronic illness, but we want to tell you when it's going to be within the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And obviously, that has to be tested. We plan on building that with one of the Australia's universities. And because we see that LifeCheck could actually become the gold standard in wellness.
Wow.
So you have your LifeCheck score. Use it for getting health insurance. We will move, as they've done in the States. People who are healthier will get better premiums on their health insurance, car insurance, house insurance, financial, because they're a better risk for lending money, buying, and all that. So if we can use it for just to make people's lives easier, bring it to their attention, then the more accurate we are, the better. We'd like to think that we could predict some forms of cancer, but it's going to have to be 99.99% accurate before we'd even talk about that. Sorry, I did talk about it, but before we'd actually implement it. So that's where we see the company going. Our market, there's only 8 billion people in the world who could probably all deal with LifeCheck, particularly remote areas where remote areas, our own Indigenous population, because they are susceptible to chronic illnesses. Universities for international students and students at all, small to medium-sized corporates. They're and even potentially government, if they could see that this sort of predictive technologies could save them money in the future.
I think it's got a big place even with the small business owner, maybe even the solopreneur, who's trying to do all of this stuff and not really noticing that there's these changes going on with them, be it, their physical. But
the other initiative we have is the heart health station. We want to put together, because weight, blood pressure, and pulse are so important. We want to put together like a little kiosk of equipment, very easy to use. Just take your weight, take your blood pressure, automatically captured by the system, and a new wellness score is created. So, you could have one in your own home, you could have a couple at the office, and as people start using it, if you make it easy for people and you make it cost effective, you can sell it to anybody.
So would you say that would maybe be something that your Apple Watch or your Fitbit or something could perhaps interact with?
Sure, why not? I mean, all those companies make the data available. The problem with all of those is all they do is store the data for you. They don't actually tell you where you're heading or what you could do. So, or trying to sell you something along the way. Use your Apple Watch and get an iPad in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
But we want to take in all that data, and there are no apps that will register your blood pressure. They'll do your pulse by putting a little finger over the camera, and they'll let you record your blood pressure, but they won't actually take it for you on a device. You actually have to have a blood pressure machine. But they're getting, so that's where we would like to see more accurate data in the home, in the office, in fact, anywhere. And that's what's down the pipeline for us.
Yeah, the blood pressure machines are pretty cheap. I know as part of my personal training studies that, ended up getting one, and, depending on how somebody's feeling, we'll just whip it out of the cupboard and go, all right, we better check our
Exactly. Exactly.
So tell me, what challenges did you end up facing during the whole development and implementation of LifeCheck? And have you been able to overcome them, or are there still some that are some issues for you?
The biggest challenge we have is the size of the market. If you Google it, it'll tell you that the wellness market is valued at $5.4 trillion.
Wow.
The digital health market's valued at 211 billion, I think. And the area that we're trying to make a difference in is valued at $114 billion. Now, what that tells me is people have absolutely no idea. If you make the thing big enough, it sort of justifies it. So, but what that doesn't stop there being a lot of smoke and mirrors and fog that you have to get through. The snake oil people will be out there, and our issue is trying to get above the clouds so people can actually see this can provide benefit. We haven't overcome that.
Yeah.
So talking to people such as yourself, getting the awareness out there that Life Check's available, and it's not the cure-all, it's the start of the conversation. So that will always be the issue as we move forward.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There is an awful lot of noise out there. And definitely there's all of this information. And so definitely getting above that, which is just why I loved having the opportunity to firstly learn about Life Check from you, but then to have this conversation where we will be able to promote this, and hopefully people will start to hear about Life Check and be able to use that in their sort of wellness toolkit as they move forward throughout life. And as you talked about the new developments, for me, I really see it as a place, you know, as I said before, you know, the 100+ and all that being well, that it's used as a way to help people be healthy enough to access those medical advancements that we'll be looking forward to in the next, you know, 20, 30 years. But we have to be here for them, right? And we have to be well enough to be able to, our body to be able to use them as well. Because if you're, you know, if the decline is so bad, then it's not going to be of much use to us, right?
Well, that's true. And also from a very practical point of view, our health system in Australia, which is probably mirrored pretty much around the world, it's an excellent system, but it's expensive. And
Mm,
therefore, there are many people now that there are less bulk billers. There's many people who just don't go to the doctor.
yeah.
And so the first time the health system sees these people is when they've walked into emergency or brought there. If we start predicting what's going to happen, they can start getting preventative treatment a lot earlier. Then
Mm,
they're in the system. Then the government can start planning for what they need.
yeah.
What we don't need is another COVID to come along where people are stacked up in ambulances out the front, can't get a bed, and simply just die. So that's where I think it's very important that we take a very active, proactive approach and understand where we are in the world with our health, and therefore increase health literacy.
And I believe from what I know of friends who are nurses that the backlog is still there from the COVID, um, you
Oh,
know,
sure. We have no concept of the long effects of COVID.
no,
There are as many people who suffer badly from multiple COVIDs than what that simply go, I don't even know I've had it.
yeah.
And respiratory issues will become more apparent, and things that can be done to help. Anything that can help will be a benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just love that. And so just finally, uh what do you hope individuals will gain or achieve from using Life Check? And then we should probably tell people how they can actually access this.
Look, the goal of Future Wellness Group and Life Check is to have people identify the impact of their life choices, take control of their health rather than just wait till they get sick.
Mm,
Identify what the issues are. Many people know what the issue is, they just don't want to know about it really.
yeah.
And as I've said before, we want people to live a longer, happier life. None of this age gracefully stuff, just age happily,
Yeah.
engage right till the end. As my wife says, burn out, don't rust out. And
I love that one.
yeah, and um, that's the goal. Um, how they can get Life Check, talk to you.
Yes, you can come and talk to me and we can organize that for you.
That's right. So happy to help, happy to promote, and look, thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you. And just on that note, I believe that I have a few free life checks that people can access. And past that, there'll be a bit of a discounted rate with my health and wellness program as well that people will be able to access. So there are a few ways that they can do that as well.
Sure. I mean, what I'd like to suggest is they do the test with the assessment through Future Wellness Group, and then they send their report to you.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fantastic because then we definitely have a visual of how they're progressing and areas that we can still look at. And also
Sure.
the actual progress of the actions that they're taking, because it can be very hard to change. And just on a final note, I think one of the things that we see is when things aren't going well, our confidence definitely goes down. And through meeting, you know, even very small targets along the way to a bigger goal is when your confidence improves, and then you start to speed up your progress because you are feeling better. You stand a little straighter, you hold your head up, you communicate better with people, you know, you take better actions, you move more. And then definitely all of those, what probably was small actions before actually takes on a life of its own and the ball starts rolling.
Well, that's right. What did Chairman Mao say? The journey starts with just a single step.
It certainly does for
So
everybody.
take skill steps, document it, and change. Let you, Amira, change their life.
Well, it's a combined effort on everybody's part, isn't it? But I think that we have this opportunity to live longer, healthier lives, but we do have to be that change. We have to take make the effort ourselves. Nobody can do it for us.
No, that's true. Very true.
Mm. So to everybody's longer, healthier lives. Thank you
That's
so
right.
much for being with us. And
Pleasure.
I'm so delighted that I was able to meet you. Um, and
And my pleasure as well.
soon.
All right. Take care now.
Thank you.
Bye.